Hi everyone, welcome back to another mini-sode of Stop Shitting on Yourself,
where we answer a question with a glass of whatever the fuck. Cheers to that.
Cheers. It should just be like answering questions with like a glass of hydration or something. I feel like I've only been drinking water these days.
Girl, you're hydrating, not me, because I got my caffeine, which does the opposite. So
I need that too. If they can make caffeine somehow also very hydrating, that's like it will probably solve like world peace.
For you. For you. I don't know about anyone else, but for you, maybe, yeah.
For me.
Yeah. But yeah, girl. I mean, hydrate because it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hot nowadays. I don't know how you got through the week, but I know my AC was on full blast.
Yes.
All day, every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Needs to be so because I don't know how anybody else is surviving this. I don't even think it's a heat wave. It's just hot.
It's just hot. It's hot here in California. And it's so hot that I feel like couples are having issues.
Okay. Do you have a question for us today?
I do. And it's not about me, because obviously I am not coupled up yet. Hopefully putting it out there. But okay, so I have a question for you, and I want to know what you personally think, because I have my own opinions, but I want to know what you think. So lately, a friend of mine has been having some issues with her boo, and she doesn't want to break up, but she wants to take a break.
Okay.
She wants to take a break because they've been together for so long too, like a couple years or so. And, she thought that she was going to have this forever life with him. And so now she's kind of like, rethinking her decisions. She's trying to see if she wants to continue this relationship or if she should end it, but she doesn't know what yet. She's like weighing out her pros and cons, but she doesn't want to be in like the same state, like relationship state, or even in the same space with him while she figures that out. And so she wants to take a break.
Okay.
But my question is, Jessica, what do you think about that? Do you think that breaks in a relationship work? Is it possible for it to produce a fruitful outcome?
Personally, I don't think breaks work.
Okay.
And breaks work in general with very specific people, maybe. I just don't think it works. I think you're just delaying the inevitable. I have not seen it work. I've personally experienced breaks before and that hasn't worked, hence why they're an ex.
Okay. They're in your past.
Yeah, they're in my past. But, I feel like after many years of dating and understanding the dating world and then now being married, I feel like if you can't work through a rough patch, and I don't know what your friend's going through, so I don't know the specific like thing that she's trying to work through.
Right. And I'm not trying to put out her like business, not all of it. So,
just a question, right?
Yeah, just a question. I'm just curious.
Yeah. But I feel like if it's a rough patch and if you and your significant other can't work through a rough patch together, like how can you trust that you guys are going to work through bigger things together in the future?
Okay. So your ultimate decision or take is that breaks don't work for you.
For me. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. I mean, so I've seen breaks work. Oh. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like that's why I asked you, because I don't know. She was asking me for advice and I was like, I don't know. Like, it's totally up to you, right?
Yeah.
But like I've seen breaks work where couples have taken breaks and they were on and off with their like 3+ years relationship before they got married. Yeah. So like they took breaks within their like dating relationship and they ended up getting married and they have kids and they're like super happy now. They're such a happy, loving family. And I've seen it work.
Okay.
So I feel like it can work. But at the same time, I feel like the only way that breaks can really, really work, and feel free to disagree with me on this if you feel the need to. But I feel like the only way breaks can work, in my opinion, is if both parties are really committed. And I'm not saying just committed to the relationship and committed to like being a better couple. It's not just that, but like really committed on bettering themselves as a person and bettering themselves as a partner during the
Mm,
break. So if that level of commitment is not the same, then I don't think that break will be helpful. But then
okay.
again, I'm on the same boat with you. Like for me personally, breaks don't work. You know what I mean? Like, because you know, once I'm on a break with somebody, at that point, I'm emotionally detaching myself from that
Yeah.
person, from that relationship. It's like, it's me preparing myself to just kind of say goodbye already. Right. Because
Mm,
I'm on that same boat with you. Like, I mean, breaks work for some people, but for me, man, like, I don't know. Like, I understand if you need like your alone time. Like, I need my space sometimes. I need my own space physically, mentally, and emotionally to think about certain things. But
mhm.
does that mean that I need to completely be temporarily broken up with somebody to do that? No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think that, you know? So, like, when and I've been on breaks
Mhm.
before. And when that has happened, I was emotionally letting go. I was like, you know what? We can take a break if you want. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm about to say deuces, bye. Like, I don't know. It doesn't work for me, but I can see it working.
I see. Well, so you said a couple things. I want to like break it down and talk
Okay.
about each of those things because there's like a couple of
Yeah.
nuggets that I want to talk about. So the first thing that you mentioned was that like you think in order for breaks to work, both of the couples on both sides, whatever the problem is, they have to be dedicated to making it work. And I think that's true, but playing devil's advocate here,
Okay.
unless it's a situation that's like I can't think of very many situations, I should say,
Hmm.
that you can't solve together if your end goal is to be together and solve problems together. So, if
Okay.
you are taking a break because there's like a personal crisis or there's just something personal that that you're dealing with,
Hmm.
I feel like if you guys know, like let's say the two of you know that you want to be together forever,
Yeah.
these things are going to come up again in the future. It might not come in the same shape or form. It might not come in, the same problem, whatever it is, right? But I
Okay.
I
Yeah.
feel like if it's a personal problem and if you guys are dedicated to being with each other in the long run,
Hmm.
you guys should figure out how to solve those things together, you know?
True.
Think of it as like
True.
almost a dry run for like marriage.
I mean, yeah, if you're thinking about marrying that person, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like I'm on the same boat with you, because when I'm dating, I'm like, I'm trying to see like, hey, is this a person that I want to spend my life with? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you're looking for that. I don't know. I guess like I mean, some people date to date, you know, but at this age,
Right.
and for me, I'm dating with a purpose. And
Mhm.
so I totally agree with you. I feel like if there's something that a person is struggling with, and it's maybe an inner demon that's affecting, your relationship, and you have to
Mhm.
figure that out, whether it's through therapy or self-reflection, self-work, or, spiritual awakening or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you can do that, but it's like, you can also do it while you're with the person. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just how I feel. Like, you can still be with your partner and do that. But it's
Yeah.
like, if you feel like your partner is also a reason why you can't,
Mhm.
because maybe your partner is exhibiting some like toxic things where it prevents you from doing that, okay,
Yeah.
then maybe, yeah, take a break. But then again, like, also, doesn't that make you think like that maybe your partner isn't, like the
Yeah.
one? But
Okay, let's just play devil's advocate to that. Because
okay,
I'm trying
okay,
to look at this from like all sides, right?
okay, okay.
Let's say there is a situation where maybe you can solve with your partner, but maybe it's easier to solve on your own or whatever it is, right? Let's say
Uh-huh.
there is that situation. I feel like for a break to work, there has to be a definitive resolution to that problem. If
Mm,
there isn't, if you're like, let me just take a break and see if I can solve it on my own, that's not worth a break.
mm,
But if it is a break where you're like, okay, in like a set time frame that I'm going to give myself, I'm going to make sure to solve it. And once this blocker is out of my life, then I feel like I can commit to spending my life with you.
mm.
That may work in my mind. I'm thinking that that would work, but again,
Uh-huh.
because I don't know,
Uh-huh.
I feel like I'm on such an extreme on this side where I'm like,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
guys can't even dedicate to working out problems together, you guys probably shouldn't be together.
Okay, but then on the other hand, wouldn't that be working things out together? Maybe not like physically being together, but like you're giving that person space and their own time and their own kind of, way to work things out while on the break. And you're
Mhm.
doing your own too. But at the same time, I think you mentioned like both of you need to be fucking committed. Okay. Like committed to
Yes.
bettering yourself and like committed to a certain time. And maybe you don't completely solve whatever issue there was, because
Mhm.
sometimes when you do inner work, you realize that a lot of the things that you got to solve, it's not going to solve itself overnight. It's
Yeah.
not. It's going
Mhm,
to take a
mhm.
lot of time to resolve certain things, and certain like traumas have become habits and triggers, and we have to continue to work on ourselves so that we don't, bring that into our relationship so much, and if it
Mhm,
does, then we,
mhm.
need to recognize and all that. But like, okay, so I could talk about this forever, but point is, it's continuous work, right? And so if you're on that break and you find like that first step in the resolution, and then you get back together and you continue, you know, those steps that you first started, I think
Yeah.
that's okay. I feel like it can work out that way. But like
Okay.
both partners have to be committed
Mhm.
to bettering their own selves as a person and as a partner. But also, time is important. Yes, commit to a time.
Yes.
Because without that, like the anxiety, girl, the anxiety is going to shoot out the roof, like not knowing exactly when you're going to even like come back and talk about this. Holy, that would cause me
Yeah.
so much anxiety,
Yes.
right?
Agree.
Yeah. But I feel like there needs to be that. Um, And I don't know, I feel like if both of you agree that the break is going to be, a certain way, I feel like before going on a break, there needs to be a communication as to
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
what's going to happen during the break. What are you going to be doing? What am I going to be doing? What are our commitments? Because it's not like we're broken up, right? We're still
Yes, exactly.
we're still together, right? But
Mhm.
what does that mean? And
Right.
I think there needs to be clear communication about that. Um,
Mhm.
and so I think by doing that, it is kind of working together as a couple. It's
Yeah.
not like you're working separately, you are working together, but just physically in a different space, which, man, which I feel like, does that really work in marriage too? Like, do you, you know what I mean? Like, when you're married to somebody, you're going to have to like sleep in the same fucking house.
Yeah. See, I this is the hard part is because like I'm just thinking if you're in a long committed relationship, like that's
Yeah.
the whole, that's kind of like where you're going to end up, right? So,
Right.
and in a marriage, like you kind of can't just call it quits. So
I
I
mean,
I
you
kind
can,
of feel
you can
like
get
I
a
mean,
divorce.
yes, you can. You can. You certainly can. You can do whatever you want, okay? But
You're like, it. You can do whatever you want, whatever.
yeah, you can do whatever you want, but it's not as easy as just like let's call it a break or whatever. So
Yeah.
I almost feel like, again, like I said, like if being in a, if mutually agreed upon like long-term committed relationship, it's like a dry one for marriage, you
Mhm.
should treat taking breaks and everything like kind of similar to that.
Mm.
Um and I do feel like one of the other things that you brought up is you kind of have to like work together on it because very often I see people like they'll call a break just because they can't solve something. They're like, I don't want to deal with this right now. Let's just
Mm,
take a break.
it's like them running away from their issues rather than like
Exactly.
wanting to, dive in head
Yeah.
on and solve it. Yeah.
And I do think like if both parties are very mature about the reason why they're taking a break and not just like I don't want to deal with this right now. There's too much, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is. That's
Yeah.
why I'm taking a break. Like I feel like you have to give very defined lanes. Like
Mm.
here's why we're taking a break, here's what we're trying to solve,
Mm-hmm.
and like here's all the things we can and can't do on a break. Right? Because
Oh,
like you
yes.
said, when you're on a break, it's like two people, but you're still together, but just apart.
Yeah.
Very weird concept to me. But
Yeah.
you're still together. I always think of like Rachel and Ross in Friends,
Oh,
how they were supposed to
we
be on
were
a break,
on a
but
break.
yeah,
Is that,
exactly.
are you talking about that scene? Like,
Yes.
honestly, I'm not like the biggest fan of Friends. Um, Meaning I know because you're a diehard fan. Like I've seen you watch Friends and recite lines like that. Um, I'm not like that. I've seen episodes here and there,
But
but I
even
mean like
that
that
scene.
line. Yes, that
Yeah.
line is like one of the like most famous lines, right? We were
Mhm.
on a break and then Ross like I think hooked up with somebody or like kissed
Mhm.
somebody or like he was like physically intimate with someone.
Yeah.
And then he was getting shitted on for it because technically I mean, I guess the assumption was you can't do that on a break.
Well, I think there was no defined lanes of what you can and can't do,
Right.
because I do feel like oftentimes, at least in the past for me too, like I've been on a break before and it was out of heat of the moment, right? It was
Okay.
like, whatever, this is stupid. You're yelling at each other. You don't want to break
Yeah.
up yet. So let's just call it a break, right? And
Mm,
you don't talk about it. You don't talk about what you can do. You don't talk about what you're supposed to be doing. You don't talk
yeah.
about the outcome.
Right.
And you sort of just are in this like weird, I don't know, like weird phase where you're not really sure where you stand with the other
Mm-hmm.
person. You're not really sure what the outcome of this break is supposed to be. Like, are you supposed to just, let's say, take a break from each other for a month and then like everything's going to be okay, and then
Right.
like you also don't, a lot of people don't give that time frame of like,
Yeah.
okay, this is going to be like a week and a month or whatever. And I get it, like sometimes you can't put a time on how long it's going to take to solve a problem,
Right.
but at least have like a time frame to say like in a month I'm going to check back with you and see where we are.
Yeah.
Or
And
a
it
week.
like
A
in
month seems long, actually.
I know I was thinking about it, I'm like, Jessica, that's a really long time. Um, but yeah, I definitely think there needs to be a conversation where you come back and you're like, okay, let's reevaluate the state of a relationship after like a week or two. Okay, like
Mhm.
this is the date. Because
Yeah.
without that, it's like, well, then what's the point? What is the
Mhm.
point of like being on this whole break thing? And I think you made a really good point where um if you just go on a break without having that conversation of boundaries of what you can and cannot do, what the purpose is, and it's like there's literally no point of going on a break. It's so
Yeah.
purposeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like there's absolutely no purpose because you just go on a break at the heat of the moment
Yeah.
or because you just can't deal with stuff anymore or because
Mhm.
you gave somebody an ultimatum of like, well, if you don't fix this and I can't be in the relationship anymore. It's like, well, but before you break up, let's take a break.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Like you're running away from your issues and you're not really talking it out, and instead of actually having that communication and actually trying to understand one another, you're
Mhm.
saying, well, let's take a break so we can just think about it by ourselves. Like, that's not really how relationships work.
Right. You can't just put a pause in problems.
Not like that. Not like that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No, not like that. Which
Mm-mm.
is what I think. But then again, once again, people think differently, but that's my opinion as well. Like personally, breaks have never worked for me because once
Mm-mm.
again, maybe my breaks were so purposeless
Yeah.
in that break, and maybe that's why my breaks have, or my breaks, the breaks that I was in never
Mhm.
worked.
Okay.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
I've seen it work with other couples. I know it can work, but just personally, not for me. No,
Yeah.
I'm on the same boat with you, but I've seen it work, so I feel like it can. I
Okay.
don't know.
Have faith, but I don't know. I just I can't wrap that concept around my head to like make it
Mhm.
work. Like I can't even make it work in my head.
You're like, nope. Mm-mm.
That's how much I don't believe in taking breaks. But again, hey, like I'm sure it works. I'm sure it works for a lot of different people. I'm sure there's been many successful relationships that's made it work.
Yeah.
I'm just not that type of person.
Yeah.
I don't know. And if you feel like it's like absence makes the heart grow fonder and that's why you're taking a break, like maybe
Yeah.
the break will ignite some spark or what, like don't do that. Just like go on a fun date or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Do other things. Because if you need to be absent in order to rekindle something, that's not the relationship for you, boo. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a weird problem too.
yeah, I mean, unless you like that's how you want to conduct your marriage or the rest of your
Yeah.
relationship with that person. Maybe even if you don't get married, if that's what you want to do, okay. But like, girl, not for me.
Yeah, not for me. Not for
Yeah.
me. So, yeah, I mean, that's at least what I will tell your friend and tell anybody else who's thinking about going on a break, but it's a
Mhm.
weird, I'm sure it's a weird thing, like especially
Yeah.
like in the heat of the moment too. Like you've been in the relationship for so long and you cherish the other person, you obviously want the relationship to continue, right? That's why instead of like
Mhm.
just breaking it up on the spot, you're like, let's take a break.
I don't know if
Right.
it's like you wanting the relationship to continue or if it's just like you being afraid to be alone. Because there's a difference, you know? I feel like one does seep into the other, but I feel like there's a huge difference in the motive.
Yeah,
And I feel
yeah,
like
that's a good point.
when you are taking a break because you don't want to break up with somebody, I feel like it's more of the latter where like you're afraid to be alone. You're afraid to say goodbye to that person and like let go of all the relationships that you've had. It's not necessarily you wanting to continue the relationship with a person. Sometimes, not always, but like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough spot. And again, like all the relationships that we like talk about, like situation's different. I don't know what the situation
Yeah,
is, like
right,
every
right.
situation's different. There's probably like 100 different ways to resolve something.
Exactly.
I feel like I just know my way of dealing with things and
Yeah,
breaks just doesn't work for me, but
right.
who knows? Who knows? Best of luck to your friend and
Yeah, who
everybody else
knows?
out there.
Yeah, to everybody else out there, I just want to say, this is like a reoccurring I guess saying or phrase or whatever that we usually say on this podcast. You do you, boo. Okay?
This is
Like,
not an advice podcast.
listen to it. If you want to take advice from it, great. But like, seriously, you do you, because this is just our personal opinions on
Yeah.
whether breaks work for us or not.
Yeah.
And I think the conclusion is I think we both think that breaks don't work for us personally. but it can, depending on, how you approach the break with your
Yes.
partner. I think it really
Yes.
can. But just not for
No, not for us.
us.
Not for
Nope.
us.
Nope.
Yeah.
But with that, we can always take a break from this week. And enjoy the weekend and meet back next week.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Bye, guys.
Bye.